The human ship moved slowly through space toward the bright planet ahead. Captain Lisa Morgan stood on the bridge and watched the world grow larger on the screen. This was Ethros Prime, home of the Zephyrian people. Today would be the first time humans and Zephyrians met in peace. Lisa felt nervous. She had trained for this day for 3 years. Her ship, the UES Harmony, carried the most important people from Earth. They were here to make friends with a new alien race. If things went well, humans would have powerful new allies. If things went wrong, there might be war. "Captain, we're getting a message from the planet," said Lieutenant Amy Foster. She worked at the communication station. Her hands moved quickly over the controls. "Put it on screen," Lisa said. The screen flickered. Then a face appeared that made several crew members gasp. The Zephyrian looked like a person made of living crystal. Its skin was clear like glass but had a soft blue glow inside. When it spoke, its face changed colors. "Welcome, humans of Earth," the Zephyrian said. Its voice sounded like music. "I am Commander Vex. Emperor Thane waits for you in the Crystal Palace. Please follow our guide ships to the landing area." Lisa straightened her uniform. "Thank you, Commander Vex. We are honored to meet your people." The communication ended. Lisa turned to her crew. "Remember, everyone, we represent all of humanity today. Watch your actions. Be respectful. These people are very different from us." Ambassador Kevin Wright walked onto the bridge. He was a tall man with gray hair who had been a diplomat for 20 years. "Captain, are your people ready?" "Yes, sir. Security team is prepared. Sergeant Danny Sullivan has his men ready to protect you." Danny Sullivan stood near the back of the bridge. He was a young soldier from Montana with short brown hair and kind eyes. He had been quiet during most of the trip. While other people talked about making history, Danny just wanted to do his job and keep everyone safe. "Good," Kevin said. "The Zephyrians are very formal people. They don't like loud noises or sudden movements. They think showing strong emotions is wrong. Everyone must be calm and quiet." The ship landed on a platform made of smooth crystal. Outside the windows, the crew could see a city that looked like it was made of giant gems. Tall buildings caught the sunlight and threw rainbows across the sky. It was the most beautiful thing any human had ever seen. Lisa, Kevin, Amy, and the security team walked down the ship's ramp. Danny and 5 other soldiers followed behind them. They all wore their best uniforms and carried no weapons except for small energy pistols hidden under their jackets. Zephyrian people waited for them. They all looked like living statues made of different colored crystal. Some were blue, some were green, and some were purple. They stood very still and straight. None of them smiled or made any sound. A tall Zephyrian with golden crystal skin stepped forward. "I am High Minister Null. Follow me to meet Emperor Thane." They walked through the city streets. Everything was quiet except for the sound of their footsteps on the crystal roads. The buildings around them were tall and thin, reaching up into the clouds. Other Zephyrians watched them pass, but no one waved or spoke. Danny looked around as they walked. The city was amazing, but it felt cold. There were no children playing. No one was laughing. It was like walking through a beautiful museum where no one was allowed to touch anything. They reached the Crystal Palace. It was the biggest building Danny had ever seen. The walls were made of clear crystal that went up so high he couldn't see the top. Inside, everything glowed with soft light. The throne room was enormous. The ceiling was far above their heads. In the center of the room sat Emperor Thane on a throne made of white crystal. He was ancient and massive, his crystal body showing hundreds of years of growth. His skin was like a rainbow that slowly changed colors. "Humans of Earth," Emperor Thane said. His voice was deep and echoed through the room. "You have traveled far to reach us. We welcome you to Ethros Prime." Kevin stepped forward and bowed. "Your Majesty, we come in peace. Earth wants to be friends with your people. We hope to learn from each other and help each other." The Emperor nodded slowly. "This is good. We will talk about trade and treaties. But first you will meet my family." That's when things went wrong. A side door opened and Princess Cathera walked in. She was young for a Zephyrian, maybe 50 years old, which was like 20 for a human. Her crystal skin was pale pink, but it kept changing to darker colors. In her arms she carried a small bundle. The bundle was a baby. A Zephyrian baby that looked like a tiny crystal doll. But something was wrong. The baby's skin was flashing bright red and orange, and then the sound started. The baby began to cry. It wasn't like a human baby crying. The sound was higher and sharper. It echoed off the crystal walls and got louder and louder. The baby's skin flashed faster. going from red to orange to yellow and back again. Every Zephyrian in the room stepped backward. Their skin turned dark purple and black. Danny had learned that these were colors of shame and fear. Princess Cathara's skin went almost black as she tried to calm her baby. "I'm sorry, Father," she said. Her voice shook. "I can't make him stop." "I've tried everything." Emperor Thane's skin went gray. Other Zephyrians began to whisper. Danny couldn't understand their language, but he could hear they were upset. Kevin looked worried. Amy stepped closer to him. The other soldiers looked around nervously. This was not how first contact was supposed to go. The baby cried louder. Princess Cathara began to shake. Her skin was now completely black. Tears that looked like liquid crystal fell from her eyes. "Guards," Emperor Thane said. His voice was cold. "Take the princess away. She has brought shame to our house." Two Zephyrian guards moved toward Princess Cathara. She held her baby tighter and stepped backward. The baby kept crying, its skin flashing so bright it hurt to look at. Danny watched all this happen. He saw a young mother who couldn't calm her baby. He saw people who were angry at her for something she couldn't control. He saw guards coming to take her away, and Danny remembered his baby brother Jake, who used to cry just like this. Something inside Danny knew what he had to do. It was dangerous. It might cause a war. But he couldn't watch a mother lose her child because of something so simple. Danny took a step forward. "Sergeant," Kevin whispered sharply. "Stay back." But Danny kept walking toward the princess and her crying baby. Every eye in the room was on him. The guards stopped moving. Emperor Thane leaned forward on his throne. Princess Cathara looked up at Danny with crystal tears on her face. Her baby kept crying in her arms. And Danny did something that no human had ever done before. He reached out his hand toward an alien child and smiled. Danny Sullivan moved slowly across the crystal floor. Every step echoed in the silent throne room. The baby's crying filled the air, but Danny had heard this sound before. Back home in Montana, he had 7 younger brothers and sisters. He knew what a scared, upset baby sounded like. Princess Cathara watched him approach. Her crystal skin was still black with shame and fear. The guards had stopped moving, waiting to see what this strange human would do. Emperor Thane sat forward on his throne, his ancient eyes following Danny's every move. "Sergeant Sullivan, stop right there," Captain Lisa Morgan called out. Her voice was sharp with worry. One wrong move could destroy everything they had worked for. But Danny kept walking. He had learned something important growing up in a big family. Sometimes you had to ignore the adults and just help the child who needed you. He stopped 3 feet away from Princess Cathara. The baby was still crying, its tiny crystal body flashing red and orange. Danny could see that the little one was maybe a few weeks old, just like his brother Jake had been when their parents brought him home from the hospital. Danny looked into Princess Cathara's eyes. They were like blue diamonds but filled with sadness. He pointed to himself and said softly, "Danny." Then he pointed to the baby and made a questioning sound. Princess Cathara understood. "Solace," she whispered. "His name is Solace," Danny nodded. Then he did something that made every Zephyrian in the room gasp. He held out his hands toward the baby, not to take Solace away but to ask if he could help. The guards raised their energy weapons. Bright blue light began to glow at the tips. "Human, step away from the princess," one of them said. But Princess Cathara saw something in Danny's face. She had been alone with her crying baby for days. The other Zephyrians couldn't help because they thought showing emotion was wrong. Her own people had failed her. Maybe this strange human with kind eyes could do what they could not. "Wait," she said to the guards. "Let him try." Emperor Thane's skin flashed angry red. "Daughter, you cannot let an alien touch our child." "Father, our ways are not working," Princess Cathara said. Her voice was stronger now. "Look at him. He is not afraid of Solace's crying. He wants to help." Danny kept his hands out, waiting. He spoke in the gentle voice he used with all the babies back home. "It's okay, little guy. I know you're scared. I'm here to help." The baby's crying got a little quieter. Its skin stopped flashing so fast. Solace turned his tiny head toward Danny's voice. Princess Cathara made a decision that would change both their worlds forever. She stepped closer to Danny and slowly placed her baby in his arms. The moment Danny touched Solace, something amazing happened. The crying stopped. The baby's skin changed from angry red to soft blue and gold. Solace looked up at Danny with eyes like tiny stars. The entire throne room went silent. Every Zephyrian stared in shock. How had this human done what they could not?
Danny smiled down at the baby.
There we go. You just needed someone to listen to you. He began to rock Solace gently, the way he had rocked Jake 100 times. The baby's skin grew brighter, showing colors of happiness that most Zephyrians had never seen. Dr. Rachel Kim, the human scientist, stepped forward. Her equipment was beeping with excitement. Captain, I'm reading something incredible. The human emotional output is affecting the baby's crystal structure. It's like Danny's feelings are calming the child's entire nervous system. Princess Cathera moved closer to Danny. How did you do that? Our best doctors could not stop his crying. Danny looked up at her. Where I come from, babies cry when they need something. Maybe they're hungry or scared or just want someone to hold them. We don't think it's bad. We think it's how they talk to us. This idea was revolutionary to the Zephyrians. In their culture, any show of strong emotion was considered weakness. But here was a human saying that crying was communication. You mean? Princess Cathera said slowly. Solace was trying to tell me something? Sure, Danny said. He adjusted the baby in his arms. See how he's looking at you now? He knows you love him. He just needed to know someone was listening. Emperor Thane stood up from his throne. His massive crystal body caught the light and threw rainbows across the walls. This is impossible. Emotions make us weak. They cloud our judgment. Danny looked at the Emperor while still holding Solace. With respect, Your Majesty, emotions don't make us weak. They make us strong. When I see someone who needs help, my feelings tell me to help them. When I hold this baby, my feelings tell me to protect him. The baby made a soft sound and reached up toward Danny's face with tiny crystal fingers. Danny laughed, and the sound made Solace's skin glow even brighter. Look at your grandson, Danny said to Emperor Thane. He's not weak. He's beautiful. Other Zephyrians began to move closer. They had never seen one of their babies look so peaceful and happy. High Minister Nal approached slowly. Human Danny, he said carefully. Could you teach us this technique? It's not really a technique, Danny said. It's just caring. Anyone can do it if they try. Princess Cathera was watching everything with wonder. Show me, she said. Teach me how to make my son happy like this. Danny carefully placed Solace back in his mother's arms. The baby started to fuss a little, but Danny showed the princess how to hold him close to her heart. He demonstrated the gentle rocking motion and hummed a soft tune. Talk to him, Danny said. Tell him you love him. He can feel what you feel. Princess Cathera began to speak to her baby in the Zephyrian language. Her voice was soft and full of love. Solace's skin glowed with warm colors as he listened to his mother's voice. Ambassador Kevin Wright finally found his voice. Your Majesty, Sergeant Sullivan meant no disrespect. He was only trying to help. Emperor Thane was quiet for a long moment. He watched his daughter and grandson together, seeing them happier than they had been in weeks. Finally, he spoke. Human Danny, he said, you have done something our greatest minds could not do. You have brought peace to our child. How is this possible? Danny shifted uncomfortably. He wasn't used to being the center of attention. I don't know about greatest minds, sir. I just know about babies. Back home, I help take care of my little brothers and sisters. Kids are kids, I guess, no matter what planet they're from. Dr. Rachel Kim was still studying her readings. Captain, this is extraordinary. There seems to be a natural compatibility between human emotional patterns and Zephyrian physiology. We might be looking at the first evidence of cross-species empathy. The baby made another happy sound. Princess Cathera smiled, and when she did, her crystal skin became the most beautiful shade of gold anyone had ever seen. Father, she said to Emperor Thane, I request permission to learn more from this human. If there are ways to better care for our children, shouldn't we explore them? The Emperor looked around the room. His advisors were whispering to each other in amazement. The guards had lowered their weapons. Even the most traditional Zephyrians seemed impressed by what they had witnessed. Very well, Emperor Thane said at last. Human Danny, will you stay and teach us your ways? Danny looked at Captain Morgan, who nodded. Then he looked back at the Emperor. I'll help however I can, Your Majesty. But really, you don't need to learn much. You just need to remember that love is the same everywhere. As if to prove his point, baby Solace reached out from his mother's arms toward Danny, his tiny crystal fingers sparkling in the light. And for the first time in Zephyrian history, the sound of a child's laughter echoed through the crystal palace. 3 days had passed since Danny first held baby Solace. The Crystal Palace had become a very different place. Instead of cold silence, there were new sounds. Sometimes you could hear Princess Kythera singing to her baby. Sometimes you could hear Solace making happy, gurgling noises. And sometimes you could hear something that had never been heard before in Zephyrian history, the sound of adults laughing. Danny sat in the palace garden with Princess Kythera and Solace. The garden was made of living crystal trees that grew from the ground like glass sculptures. Sunlight passed through them and made patterns of colored light dance on the crystal grass. "Show me again how to make him laugh," Princess Kythera said. She held Solace in her arms, and the baby's skin was a soft blue color that meant he was content. Danny made a funny face and spoke in a silly voice. "Hello there, little Solace. Are you a good baby today?" Solace's eyes went wide and he made a sound like crystal bells ringing. His skin flashed bright yellow with joy. Princess Kythera tried to copy Danny's expression. At first she felt strange making such a face. Zephyrians were taught to keep their faces calm and serious, but when Solace saw his mother's funny expression, he clapped his tiny hands together and his whole body glowed with happiness. "I never knew," the princess said softly. "I never knew he could be so happy." Dr. Rachel Kim approached them with her scientific equipment. She had been studying Solace for 3 days, trying to understand what was happening. "Princess, may I take some more readings?" "Of course," Princess Kythera said. She was no longer afraid of the human scientists. They had helped her understand her baby better than any Zephyrian doctor ever had. Dr. Kim ran her scanner over Solace. Numbers and graphs appeared on her screen. Incredible. His stress levels are now completely normal. His crystal structure is stronger than any Zephyrian baby on record. And look at this. His brain activity shows patterns we've never seen before. "What does that mean?" Princess Kythera asked. "It means he's learning faster and better than expected. The combination of Zephyrian logic and human emotional input is creating new neural pathways. Your son might be the smartest baby ever born on this planet." Emperor Thane walked into the garden with his advisors. Over the past 3 days, he had watched his daughter and grandson become happier than he had ever seen them. It made him question everything he had believed about emotions and strength. "Human Danny," the Emperor said, "I have been thinking about what you showed us. Perhaps our understanding of emotions has been incomplete." Danny stood up and bowed respectfully. "Your Majesty, I don't know about incomplete. Your people are amazing. You've built this incredible city and traveled between stars. I just know about taking care of babies." "But that is exactly the point," said High Minister Nal. "We have mastered technology and science, but we have forgotten how to care for our own children. Our birth rate has been dropping for centuries. Our young people leave the planet to explore the galaxy and never return. Perhaps there is a connection." Princess Kythera nodded. "I was so afraid when Solace was born. I didn't know how to help him when he cried. Our doctors told me to ignore his emotions, to let him learn control. But Danny showed me that emotions are not the enemy." Ambassador Kevin Wright joined the group. "Your Majesty, this discovery could change everything. If humans and Zephyrians can help each other with child rearing, imagine what else we could accomplish together." But not everyone was happy with these changes. From across the garden, General Corvus approached with a group of traditional Zephyrian nobles. His crystal skin was dark red with anger. "Emperor Thane," General Corvus said in a hard voice, "this has gone too far. We are allowing aliens to corrupt our most sacred traditions. What will happen to our strength? What will happen to our discipline?" "What strength?" Princess Kythera stood up, holding Solace close. "General Corvus, when was the last time you saw a Zephyrian child laugh? When was the last time our people felt true joy? We have been so focused on control that we forgot what we were trying to control." General Corvus pointed at baby Solace, who was now making happy sounds while reaching for the colored light patterns in the crystal trees. "Look at him. He shows every emotion on his skin. In battle, our enemies would see his fear, his anger, his weakness." Danny stepped forward. "General, respectfully, I've been in battles. The strongest soldiers I know are the ones who fight for something they love. Emotions don't make you weak. They give you something worth fighting for. You dare lecture me about battle, human?" General Corvus's skin flashed bright red. "Your species is young and foolish. You know nothing of the discipline required to survive in this galaxy." Emperor Thane raised his hand for silence. "Enough, General Corvus, I understand your concerns. For thousands of years, we have believed that emotional control made us strong. But look at the results. Our people are leaving. Our children are unhappy. Our birth rate is falling. Perhaps it is time to try a new way. Dr. Rachel Kim stepped forward with her scanner still beeping. Your Majesty, I've been analyzing the data from the past 3 days. The changes in Prince Solace are remarkable, but there's something else. Princess Kithara, your own stress levels have dropped dramatically. Your crystal structure is stronger. Your health markers are better than they've been in months. Princess Kithara looked surprised. I do feel better, happier, stronger, not weaker. The emotional bonding with your child is having positive physical effects, Dr. Kim explained. It's possible that Zephyrian emotional suppression has been causing health problems for generations. General Corvus was not convinced. Pretty theories, but what happens when the Vorthan Empire attacks? Will emotions stop their weapons? Will happiness turn aside their warships? At the mention of the Vorthans, everyone grew serious. The Vorthan Empire was a military dictatorship that had been expanding across the galaxy for decades. They conquered other species and enslaved them. Everyone knew that eventually they would come for Ethros Prime. The Vorthans are indeed a threat, Emperor Thane said slowly. They are powerful because they feel no emotions at all. They have removed all feelings from their society. They are efficient, disciplined, and utterly without mercy. Danny thought about this. So they're the opposite of what you're worried about becoming. Instead of too much emotion, they have none at all. Exactly, General Corvus said. And they are conquering the galaxy. But are they happy? Princess Kithara asked. Do they have families?
Do they have children who laugh and play?
No, admitted High Minister Nal. Their children are raised in factories. They reproduce through artificial means. There is no love, no joy, no individual creativity. Danny looked down at baby Solace, who was now sleeping peacefully in his mother's arms. That sounds like a terrible way to live. Sure, they might be strong, but what's the point of being strong if you have nothing worth protecting? Emperor Thane was quiet for a long moment. Human Danny, you suggest that emotions could make us stronger, not weaker? Different kinds of strong, Danny said. When I hold Solace, I feel like I could fight off a whole army to protect him. When I see Princess Kithara happy, it makes me want to make sure she stays that way. Love doesn't make you weak. It gives you power you didn't know you had. Dr. Rachel Kim nodded enthusiastically. From a scientific standpoint, emotional bonding increases cooperation, creativity, and problem-solving abilities. Species that form strong emotional connections are more adaptable and resilient. General Corvus scoffed. Pretty words, but the Vorthans will not be defeated by feelings. Maybe not, Princess Kithara said. But they might be defeated by people who have something worth fighting for. Baby Solace woke up and looked around at all the adults talking. His skin showed curious golden colors as he listened to their voices. Then he reached out toward Danny and made a soft sound. Danny smiled and gently touched the baby's hand. What do you think, little guy? Should your people learn to feel again? Solace gurgled happily and his skin lit up like a rainbow. Everyone in the garden could see the pure joy radiating from the tiny child. I think, Emperor Thane said slowly, we have much to learn from both humans and from our own children. General Corvus turned and walked away, his skin dark with disapproval. But most of the other Zephyrians stayed to watch as Danny taught Princess Kithara a human lullaby. As the sun set over the Crystal Palace, the sound of a mother singing to her baby echoed through the gardens. It was a sound of hope, but also a sound that would soon attract dangerous attention from across the galaxy. 2 weeks had passed since the first day Danny held baby Solace. The Crystal Palace was now filled with sounds no one had heard before. Zephyrian children who had been quiet and sad were starting to laugh. Their parents were learning new ways to show love. But with these changes came new problems. Danny stood in the palace library with Princess Kithara and baby Solace. The library was huge, with crystal shelves that reached up to the ceiling. Books and data crystals glowed softly in the light. Princess Kithara was teaching Danny how to read Zephyrian writing, while he showed her human stories about families. This one is my favorite, Danny said, pointing to a picture book about a father bear and his cubs. My dad used to read it to me when I was little. Princess Kithara studied the pictures. Your human families are so different from ours. You touch each other often. You show feelings on your faces. We have always kept distance, even from our own children. Solace was sitting on Danny's lap, playing with a crystal toy that made musical sounds. The baby had grown so much in 2 weeks. His skin was brighter and he was starting to make sounds that almost seemed like words. Maybe distance isn't always good, Danny said gently. Sometimes being close makes you stronger. Lieutenant Colonel Steve Parker walked into the library. He was the military commander of the human mission, and he looked worried. Sergeant Sullivan, I need to speak with you. Danny carefully handed Solace to his mother and followed the colonel to a quiet corner. What's wrong, sir? Danny, I know what you've done here is amazing. But we're getting reports from our scouts. Fourth-hand ships have been seen at the edge of the solar system. They're watching us. Danny felt his stomach drop. Are they going to attack? We don't know yet. But General Corvus and his supporters are using this as proof that emotions make people weak. They're saying the Vorthans came because they sensed that Zephyrian society was changing. This was a serious problem. Danny had not meant to cause trouble. He had just wanted to help a crying baby. What should I do? Keep doing what you're doing, Colonel Parker said. But be careful. Not everyone here wants humans and Zephyrians to be friends. That evening, Danny was walking through the palace gardens when he heard angry voices. He hid behind a crystal tree and listened. General Corvus was talking to a group of Zephyrian nobles. The human influence is spreading like a disease, the general said. Our children are becoming weak and emotional. Our soldiers are distracted by feelings. When the Vorthans attack, we will be helpless, Ebia. But the children are so much happier, said one of the nobles. My daughter has been laughing for the first time in years. Happiness will not stop Vorthan weapons, General Corvus replied. We must return to the old ways before it is too late. Danny crept away quietly. He needed to tell someone about this conversation. He found Princess Cathera in her room singing a lullaby to Solace. The baby was almost asleep, his skin glowing softly with peaceful colors. The sight made Danny smile, but he was still worried. Princess, we need to talk, he said quietly. She put Solace in his crystal crib and joined Danny by the window. Outside, the crystal city sparkled under 3 moons. General Corvus is planning something, Danny said. He wants to stop the changes that are happening. He thinks emotions will make your people weak when the Vorthans come. Princess Cathara sighed. I know. He has been speaking against my father's new policies. Many of the older nobles agree with him. What new policies? Father has decided to start exchange programs with your people. Zephyrian children will learn human emotional techniques. Human children will learn Zephyrian logic and science. He believes the combination will make both our species stronger. This was exciting news, but Danny could see why it worried some Zephyrians. Change is scary, he said. Even good change. Danny, Princess Cathera said softly. Can I ask you something personal? Sure. Do you have children of your own on Earth? Danny shook his head. No, I'm only 25. I've never even been married. I just helped take care of my younger brothers and sisters. But you knew exactly what to do with Solace. You understood him better than his own mother. Danny thought about this. I guess it's because I never learned that caring was wrong. Where I come from, taking care of each other is what families do. Princess Cathera was quiet for a moment. I envy your people sometimes. You make everything look so easy. It's not easy, Danny said. We make mistakes too. We argue and fight and hurt each other's feelings. But we also forgive and help and love each other. That's what makes us strong. Just then alarms began to ring throughout the palace. Red lights flashed on the walls. Princess Cathera ran to check on Solace, who woke up crying from the noise. Captain Lisa Morgan's voice came over the communication system. All personnel report to stations immediately. Fourth-hand ships are approaching the planet. Danny picked up Solace to comfort him while Princess Cathera prepared to leave. I have to go to the war room, she said. As a member of the royal family, I must help plan our defense. What about Solace? He'll be safe in the nursery with the other children. She paused at the door. Danny, promise me something. If we don't survive this, will you take care of him? Will you make sure he remembers that his mother loved him? You're going to survive, Danny said firmly. And you're going to tell him yourself. The war room was full of Zephyrians and humans working together. Emperor Thane stood at a massive crystal table that showed a map of the solar system. Red dots marked the Vorthan ships moving toward the planet. How many ships? The Emperor asked. 50 warships, reported Admiral Kim from the human fleet. They're asking us to surrender immediately. General Corvus stepped forward. Your Majesty, this is exactly what I warned about. The Vorthans see us as weak because of our association with humans. We should surrender and ask for mercy. No, Princess Cathera said as she entered the room. If we surrender, they will enslave our people. They will take our children and raise them in their factories. Is that the future you want, General? Better slavery than extinction, General Corvus replied. Danny had followed Princess Cathara to the war room. He wasn't supposed to be there, but no one stopped him. What do the Vorthans want? He asked. Emperor Thane looked at him sadly. They want us to give up our alliance with humanity. They want us to return to our old ways of emotional control, and they want us to give them our children to raise as Vorthon soldiers. Danny felt anger rise in his chest. They want to take the children? That is their way, High Minister Null explained. They believe children should be raised without love or attachment. It makes them better soldiers. Danny thought about baby Solace sleeping in the nursery. He thought about all the Zephyrian children who were just starting to learn how to laugh and play. He thought about his own little brothers and sisters back on Earth. No, he said. His voice was quiet but firm. No, they can't have the children. Everyone in the room looked at him. General Corvus laughed coldly. And how do you propose to stop them, human? You have no weapons that can match theirs. You have no armies. Danny looked around the room at the faces of humans and Zephyrians. Maybe we don't need to match their weapons. Maybe we need to be smarter than they are. What do you mean? Emperor Thane asked. The Vorthans removed all emotions from their society, right? That means they can't understand love or family or the need to protect each other. Maybe that's their weakness, Dr. Rachel Kim nodded excitedly. Danny's right. Emotional species are more creative, more adaptable. They can think of solutions that purely logical species cannot. Princess Cathara stepped closer to the star map. What are you suggesting? Danny took a deep breath. I'm suggesting we show them what they gave up when they chose to feel nothing. I'm suggesting we fight not just for our planets, but for our families. And I'm suggesting we do it together. Emperor Thane looked at his daughter, then at the human diplomats, then back at Danny. Explain your plan, young sergeant. As Danny began to speak, baby Solace's cries could be heard faintly from the nursery. But this time, instead of sounding like distress, they sounded like a battle cry for everything worth protecting in the universe. The Vorthan fleet hung in space like a dark cloud around Ethros Prime. 50 massive warships, each one gray and lifeless, waited for an answer to their demands. Inside the Crystal Palace, the final preparations were being made. Danny stood in the throne room holding baby Solace. The little prince was now 3 weeks old and had grown strong and healthy. His crystal skin glowed with soft blues and golds as he looked around with curious eyes. Danny had volunteered to watch him while the adults made their final plans. The Vorthan Admiral wants to speak with us, Captain Lisa Morgan reported. He's giving us 1 hour to surrender. Emperor Thane sat on his crystal throne, but he looked different now. 3 weeks of watching his grandson laugh and play had changed him. His ancient skin showed warmer colors than anyone had seen in centuries. Put him on the screen, the Emperor said. The main display flickered to life. A Vorthan face appeared that made everyone in the room feel cold. Admiral Krieg looked like a person made of metal and circuits. His skin was gray, his eyes were black, and when he spoke, his voice had no feeling at all. Emperor Thane of the Zephyrians, Admiral Krieg said, you have 1 hour to accept our terms. End your alliance with the humans. Return to your old ways of emotional suppression. Give us your children to be properly trained. Refuse and we will destroy your planet. Emperor Thane stood up. Admiral Krieg, we reject your terms. Our children will stay with their families. Admiral Krieg's face showed no reaction. Then you have chosen death. We will begin our attack in 59 minutes. The transmission ended. The room was quiet except for baby Solace making soft gurgling sounds as he played with Danny's fingers. All ships to battle stations, Captain Morgan ordered. Prepare for defensive positions, but Danny stepped forward. Wait, Captain, what if we try the plan we talked about? Everyone turned to look at him. The plan Danny had suggested was risky and had never been tried before. But it might be their only chance. Princess Cathara took her baby from Danny's arms. Father, I believe we should try. What do we have to lose? General Corvus shook his head. This is madness. We should surrender while we still can. No, Emperor Thane said firmly. My grandson will not grow up as a slave. We fight. The next 50 minutes were the busiest of Danny's life. Human and Zephyrian engineers worked together to set up special broadcasting equipment. Dr. Rachel Kim calibrated her emotional sensing devices. Princess Cathara gathered all the children in the palace. When the Vorthan ships began their attack, they expected to face the usual defensive strategy. Ships shooting at ships, weapons against weapons. Instead, something completely unexpected happened. Every communication channel in the solar system was flooded with a signal from the Crystal Palace. It wasn't a military message or a surrender. It was something the Vorthons had never heard before. It was the sound of children laughing. Princess Kythera sat in the broadcast center with baby Solace and 20 other Zephyrian children. Human families from the ship joined them. Together they sang songs, told stories, and played games. The children's laughter and joy was transmitted to every Vorthon ship. At first, the Vorthon crews ignored the signals. They had been trained to ignore all emotions. But something strange began to happen. Some of the Vorthon soldiers started to slow down. Some of them stopped what they were doing to listen. Admiral, a Vorthon officer, reported to Admiral Krieg. Some of our crew members are acting strangely. They keep asking about the sounds coming from the planet. Admiral Krieg was angry. Ignore the sounds. They are just alien emotions. Continue the attack. But the broadcasting continued. Danny had suggested adding something special to the signal. Along with the children's voices, they broadcast the biorhythms of love, family bonding, and protective instincts. Dr. Rachel Kim had discovered that these emotional patterns were universal. They existed in almost every intelligent species. On the Vorthon ships, something unprecedented began to happen. Soldiers who had never felt love started to remember what they had lost. Engineers who had been raised without families began to understand what they were missing. A Vorthon communications officer turned to Admiral Krieg. "Sir, I'm receiving reports from all ships. Some crew members are refusing to fire on the planet." "Impossible," Admiral Krieg said. "We removed all emotions from our people generations ago." But the reports kept coming. On ship after ship, Vorthon soldiers were laying down their weapons. They were listening to the sounds of children playing and asking questions they had never asked before. What was this feeling in their chest? Why did the sounds make them want to protect instead of destroy? Danny watched from the palace as the Vorthon fleet began to break apart. Some ships turned away from the planet. Others just stopped moving. A few actually began to approach the planet peacefully. "It's working," Dr. Rachel Kim said in amazement. "The emotional broadcasting is reactivating suppressed neural pathways in the Vorthon crew. They're remembering how to feel." Princess Kythera continued to sing to baby Solace, not knowing that her lullaby was being heard by thousands of soldiers who had never heard their own mother sing to them. Admiral Krieg was furious. "All ships, fire immediately. Ignore the broadcasts." But only half of his fleet obeyed. The other half had been affected too strongly by what they were hearing. For the first time in their lives, they were feeling love, and it was more powerful than any weapon. The ships that did fire found themselves facing a surprising defense. Human and Zephyrian ships worked together using tactics that neither species could have developed alone. The Zephyrians provided precision and technology. The humans provided creativity and courage. Together, they fought like a family protecting their children. But the real victory came when one of the Vorthon ships sent a message to the planet. "This is Commander Vex of the Vorthon vessel destroyer. We don't want to fight anymore. The sounds you're sending, they make us feel things we thought were gone forever. Can we come down to the planet? We want to see the children." Admiral Krieg watched in horror as more and more of his ships defected. His perfect emotionless army was falling apart because of something as simple as the sound of a baby laughing. In the end, Admiral Krieg and only 5 ships escaped. The rest of the Vorthon fleet either surrendered or asked for asylum on Ethros Prime. 3 days later, Danny sat in the palace garden with Princess Kythera and Solace. Around them, former Vorthon soldiers were learning how to play with children for the first time in their lives. It was awkward and strange, but beautiful to watch. "I never believed this could happen," Princess Kythera said. "An entire army defeated by the sound of children." Danny bounced Solace gently on his knee. The baby giggled and reached for the crystal flowers growing nearby. "Not defeated," Danny said. "Saved. They weren't our enemies. They were just people who had forgotten how to love." Emperor Thane approached with a document in his hands. "Human Danny, I have something for you." Danny looked at the crystal tablet covered in official seals. "What is it?" "It's an adoption certificate. Princess Kythera has requested that you be made Solace's honorary uncle. You will always be welcome in our family." Danny felt tears in his eyes. "Your Majesty, I don't know what to say." Say you'll visit often, Princess Kithara said with a smile. Solace will need his Uncle Danny to teach him about being brave. Baby Solace made a happy sound and his skin glowed bright gold. He reached up toward Danny's face with tiny crystal fingers, and Danny gently took his hand. 6 months later, Danny stood on the bridge of a new ship, the UES Harmony II, designed with both human and Zephyrian technology. He wore a new uniform with patches from both Earth and Ethros Prime. His official title was Cultural Liaison Officer, but everyone just called him Uncle Danny. The ship was heading to another star system where they had received a distress call. A species called the Keth were having problems with their children and had asked for help. Ready for another adventure? Captain Morgan asked. Danny smiled as he looked at a photo of baby Solace, now a happy toddler who could say Danny in 3 languages. Ready, Captain. Let's go help some kids. As the ship jumped to hyperspace, Danny thought about how much had changed since that first day in the Crystal Palace. A crying baby had led to the greatest alliance in galactic history. The Human Zephyrian Federation now included dozens of species, all working together to protect families and children across the galaxy. And it all started because one soldier from Montana decided that no baby should cry alone. The former Vorthan soldiers had established schools on Ethros Prime where they learned about emotions and family. Many of them had children of their own now. General Corvus had eventually apologized and become one of the strongest supporters of the new alliance. Princess Kithara had become the Federation's ambassador for child welfare, traveling between worlds to teach other species about the power of love and family. Baby Solace traveled with her, charming everyone he met with his bright crystal skin and infectious laughter. As Danny looked out at the stars ahead, he knew there would be more challenges. There would be other species that needed help learning to feel again. There would be other children who needed someone to care for them. But he also knew something important. No matter how big the galaxy was or how many different species lived in it, some things were universal. Love was universal. Family,